So you've been planning for years, you're coming up on retirement, so excited about it.
Very exciting.
Make sure you check out this video though to find out the 9 things that you maybe hadn't thought of or wish you would have known before you retired.
Amber, we've helped a lot of people and these things come up. Now, we bring up a lot of these topics and we're talking to clients, but they have no idea in some cases. We're gonna give you 9 things, and we're also gonna reference other videos. We've already done some videos on a lot of these issues, so we'll reference those in this video as well.
The first thing that may surprise you is that home repairs can wipe you out. Now, maybe you don't have a mortgage anymore and you think that you're set. You don't have a lot of housing costs. Not necessarily the case. If you are a homeowner, even in retirement, there is a cost to that.
Amber, our home is 30 years old. This past year, we spent over $20,000 on repairs. Not upgrades, not remodels, not additions, repairing a 30-year-old house. So a lot of people in retirement have been in their house 20, 30 years. They're going to have costs. Common things that come up. You need a new roof. For us, we had to replace the siding on the back of our house. It had rotted out. It was cedar siding, 30 years old. It needed to be replaced. Furnace and air conditioning, right? We're already budgeting next year for new air conditioner. So what's the rule of thumb? You need to be budgeting about 1.5% of the value of your home each year for maintenance and repairs. So an example, if your home is worth $300,000, you better be budgeting about $4,500 per year for repairs and maintenance in retirement.
And that might not all come at $4,500 a year.
Never does.
You might go a couple of years and not have a lot of repairs, and then boom, you need a new roof. Or you might need new siding like we did, new windows. There are a lot of things that can come up when you're a homeowner. And so you need to make sure that you have this in your budget.
Yep. So our friends had to replace their furnace and air conditioner, $15,000. So that was 3 years of budgeting in our example, but Amber's exactly right. Make sure it's part of your budget and part of your retirement income plan that you're setting money aside for home repairs.
The second thing we want to talk about is Medicare. A lot of people think that Medicare will cover all of their healthcare costs in retirement. This is not the case. A lot of healthcare costs come out of pocket for retirees.
Yeah, and most retirees cannot get by with simply Medicare. They have to have some sort of a supplement plan to go along with it. And even then, they still have co-pays and deductibles and premiums to pay. So again, what should you budget? We have estimates of what Medicare is going to cost. And again, remember that Medicare is also based on your income. The more you make, the more you pay. So that's something that surprises a lot of people as well. They make more money, they do a Roth conversion, so they pay more for Medicare. So work with the planner to get what is the right budget for you and your family for medical expenses in retirement.
And we have a Medicare expert in our office, so make sure that when you are looking for a retirement planner, make sure that they have these Medicare expertise that they can rely on.
Exactly.
Number 3 goes along with that. A lot of people think that long-term care will be covered by Medicare, but this is not the case. Now, we've done a couple of videos on long-term care and what you can do instead, but just know that you are not going to have coverage just because you have Medicare.
Yeah, we talk about in retirement kind of 3 phases: the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. Long-term care kind of comes in at the end of the slow-go into the no-go years. What does that cost? Depending on level of care, you might be just a couple thousand a month, all the way up to memory care might be $10,000 or $12,000 per month. Medicare does not cover that. Okay, so just know that you have to have a plan to cover that. And again, as Amber mentioned, we've done some other videos on the best ways you can plan for long-term care. So be sure to check those out. Just don't be surprised in retirement when it comes time to finding out that Medicare does not cover long-term care for you or maybe your parents either.
The fourth thing we want to talk about, you will not be surprised about at all if you've watched our other videos. We want to talk about retirement income. Now, research shows that those who are happiest in retirement have reliable streams of retirement income. But you will be surprised to know maybe that Social Security and pension are not going to cover all of your income needs. And figuring out an income in retirement that you can live on and meet all of your needs and some of your wants, that can be pretty complicated.
Amber, I spoke to someone here in his 40s here a couple months ago back. He says, well, that's easy. Everyone knows how to retire. You just take out 4% and you're done. And I asked him, okay, so if you have a good year in the market, you take out more? What happens if the market loses 40%? Do you still take out 4%? And of what amount? The prior year's amount or the current year's amount? He had no idea, right? I said, this 4% rule is not that simple, okay? There's guidelines, there's boundaries, guardrails we have, but you actually need a retirement income plan that accounts for inflation, these healthcare costs, long-term costs that might be coming in 15 or 20 years into retirement. You don't have to budget the first 10 or 20 years for those costs, hopefully. So what is your retirement income plan? It's not that simple. Don't be surprised when you are frustrated about figuring out taxes, withdrawal rates, required minimum distributions, and all of that goes into retirement planning. Have a solid plan before you decide to call it a day at work.
So make sure you sit down with an expert who can give you tax advice and income planning advice and help you down this road, because it can be very complicated. Going along with that is number 7, which is inflation. Now, inflation is something that is a hot topic right now. We hear about it all the time, and it's something that can be a lot more difficult to deal with in retirement than when you're working.
Right. In a prior video, we talked about inflation. We pointed out it's a lot more difficult for retirees to combat increasing costs because you can't pick up extra shift at work. You can't do overtime. You can't just do a side hustle and try to make some more money to keep up with inflation. Your income plan has to be able to adjust for that in real time. So when we're talking about retirement income planning and how to combat inflation, check out our retirement bucket plan video. We actually give a very simplified approach that you can at least start with for retirement income planning and how to invest and which assets to own to help deal with inflation.
The 8th thing that might surprise you in retirement is something that is probably less common, but there are people who actually have saved too much money for retirement.
We met with one last week that has this exact problem. Millions of dollars, they're not going to spend it all. So why is that a problem? Well, it's a real problem. It's a headache for taxes and for estate planning, right? Now we have to figure out, what do we do to minimize taxes on these assets, and how do we get them to who you want at the lowest possible price? And so there are other problems that come with it if you've spent too much. Now, you can be charitable, but most people, even in that case, once you've accounted for charity, their own spending, long-term care even, they still have more assets than they're going to spend in retirement. That is still problematic. We have to now do tax planning and advanced estate planning to get that where it needs to go. But again, some people are surprised to find out they might not need as much as they originally thought to retire. A lot of people are retiring on much less than they thought they would need, just because that's the lifestyle they're living.
So if you find yourself in this category, make sure that you meet a competent estate planning attorney who can help you make sure that you are passing things on the best way possible. The last retirement surprise is that you may actually overspend in retirement. Now, you have an income plan, hopefully. You have it mapped out, but you're still human. You might find yourself overspending in retirement.
What we've found is a lot of times in a relationship with married couples especially, is there's kind of one spender and one saver. And in retirement, the spender can maybe take a charge and say, we have all this time, we have to spend, and enjoy retirement. But they're not looking at that budget. Remember, you still have to have a budget in retirement based on your resources and your investments and what they're earning. So we can't just spend whatever you want and hope that it's going to last. We have to stick to that budget. Again, doing so with guardrails and guidelines on what to spend, but trying not to overspend in retirement. Some people find it's very easy to do when they're going out all the time. They have all this free time. They want to keep themselves busy. They tend to maybe overspend without someone there kind of double checking their math.
So an income plan in retirement is great and essential, but it doesn't really do any good if you're not going to follow it.
That's right.
So don't let any of these 9 things take you by surprise in retirement. Make sure you sit down with your advisor and talk these things over. And if you need help, you can always go to workwithnewgen.com to schedule a 15-minute phone call with us.
Because you can make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Plan now to retire happy.